Something big in the world of finance has just been switched on, and it's sending some serious shockwaves through the world's central banks. People are calling it the biggest challenge to the global financial order since the Second World War, and it's forcing a pretty dramatic response from the powers that be. So, what is this thing, and why is everyone so panicked? Let's break it down. They've launched the economic nuclear bomb. I mean, wow. That's how some are describing a new joint payment system from China and Russia. You have to understand, this isn't just another fintech app. This is a direct shot at the system that has governed global money for decades. And yeah, it's causing some real panic in financial capitals from London to New York. And here's the kicker. The moment news broke that this system wasn't just an idea anymore, but was fully up and running, the European Central Bank reportedly called an emergency meeting. They could feel the ground shifting right under their feet. It was a crystal clear sign that the long reign of the dollar, and by extension, the euro, was facing its most serious threat yet.
Okay, so let's get right into it. What exactly is this new system that's causing such a financial shockwave all the way from Washington to Brussels? See, the real fear here, it isn't just about a new competitor in the marketplace, it's about a new kind of competitor, one that's built on a totally different philosophy, different technology, and designed from the ground up to operate completely outside of Western control. To really get what's happening, you have to understand the system it's aiming to replace. For decades, everything in global finance has run on something called SWIFT. The key thing is, it's basically controlled by the US, and that gives America the power to flip a switch and cut off any country's finances if it wants to. So China and Russia decided they don't want to live under that threat anymore, and they went and built their own financial railroad. And when you put these two systems side by side, the differences are just stark. The old way, SWIFT, is US-controlled, it's based on banks talking to other banks, and transactions can take days to clear. The new BRICS Plus system? It's run by China and Russia, built on the blockchain so transfers happen in seconds. And this is the absolute game changer. It's not backed by promises. It's backed by a hard asset, gold. And that brings us to the core of it all. See, the US dollar is what's called a fiat currency. That just means its value comes from the full faith and credit of the US government. It's a promise. This new system is different. It links its digital currency to actual physical gold. You can't just fire up a printer and make more of it. Every digital token that gets moved around is backed by a specific weight of gold sitting in a vault somewhere. And they have the assets to make it believable. Russia is reportedly sitting on over 2,300 tons of gold. And at the same time, China has been on an absolutely historic gold buying spree. Sometimes they're the only major country buying on the entire global market. They aren't just hoarding a shiny metal. They are literally building the physical foundation for their new financial world. So you've got this new lightning-fast, gold-backed system online and picking up new users. How is the old guard, the established financial order, responding to this? Are they just going to sit back and watch it happen? No way. The United States is definitely not sitting on its hands. It's launched a multi-front counterattack, using both its economic muscle and its technological prowess to defend the dollar's top spot. The U.S. strategy seems to break down into three main parts. First, they threaten. The U.S. can use something called secondary sanctions, which is basically telling any bank in the world, hey, if you use this new system, you're cut off from the U.S. dollar and the entire American market. Good luck. Second, they accelerate. They're hitting the gas on their own digital dollar project to try and catch up on the tech side. And third, they rally the allies. This is a diplomatic push to get the G7 nations to all agree that gold-backed currencies are illegitimate, basically painting them as shady tools for bad guys. So why that emergency meeting in Europe? Well, because they're looking at a four-headed monster. First, this deep fear that the euro could become just a local currency, totally irrelevant for big-time trade in Asia. Second, the shocking discovery that major European companies are already using the new system to get around SWIFT. Third, the projections for how much the digital yuan will be used are just exploding. And finally, they feel like they're being left in the dust, which puts massive pressure on them to hurry up their own digital euro project before the train has completely left the station. And this really gets to the heart of the whole conflict. This is about so much more than money. It's about pure power. You know, as the saying goes, he who controls the payment rails controls who walks on them. If you control how the world pays for things, you control the flow of trade. You get to make the rules, and you decide who gets to play in the global economy. That is the control that Europe and America now fear they are losing. So, okay, let's zoom out for a second. What does this split actually mean for the global map of money? It's really starting to look like two very different financial worlds are taking shape. We are really entering a new era here. It's an era of what you might call multipolar finance. The age of a single dominant system seems to be ending, and a new, more fractured financial world is taking its place. For decades, the dollar's power was pretty much guaranteed by something called the petrodollar system. The rule was beautifully simple. If any country, anywhere, wanted to buy oil on the global market, it had to buy it with US dollars. This created this massive, permanent, global demand for dollars, which forced every country to hold them and cemented America's spot at the very top of the financial pyramid. But that very foundation is now cracking. This new system has a killer app, buying and selling energy. We're seeing key oil producers like Saudi Arabia now doing deals with China, the world's biggest oil importer, and settling the bill in digital yuan. Every one of those deals represents billions of dollars that once had to flow through US banks, and now they're taking a completely different route. So on one side of this new map, you've got Camp West. Its power is based on the dollar and the euro. Its transactions run through the SWIFT system, and its whole foundation is built on trust and debt. And on the other side, you have Camp East, the BRICS plus nations. Their system is built around currencies like the yuan and the ruble. It runs on their new joint blockchain, and it's based on a foundation of tangible things you can touch, gold and commodities. Now, to be clear, the immediate goal here isn't to make the dollar collapse overnight. A lot of these countries own way too much US debt for that to be a good idea for them. The real strategic goal is to build a firewall, a parallel financial system that works, that's viable, and that allows any country inside it to keep trading, even if they get cut off by American sanctions. It's basically an insurance policy against economic warfare. So this leaves us with a pretty profound question. The world doesn't just run on paper anymore. It runs on encrypted code, on gold bars sitting in vaults, and on barrels of oil being sold completely outside of Washington's orbit. A financial system that dominated the globe for over half a century is now facing a real, credible challenger. We're not just talking about which currency is on top. The entire monetary map of the world is being redrawn right before our eyes.